My family sold my kidney for my sister. So after rebirth, I chose myself. Chapter 1. The kidney they took. The first thing Wanwan heard after waking up from surgery was her mother's laughter. Not relief, not concern, laughter. Her eyes slowly opened. The hospital room was dimly lit. Her body felt heavy. Every breath hurt. For a moment, she couldn't remember where she was. Then the pain in her side reminded her. The surgery, the kidney donation. She had given one of her kidneys to save her younger sister. Again, she closed her eyes. Maybe if she pretended to be asleep, nobody would notice she was awake. Then she heard her mother's voice. Luckily, she agreed. Wanwan's fingers froze beneath the blanket. Her father's voice followed. Of course she agreed. She's always been obedient. A soft laugh came from another person. Her sister. Lin Mei, the girl everyone loved. The girl everyone protected. The girl everyone chose. Every single time. Wanwan remained still. Listening. Do you think she'll find out? Mei asked. Find out what? Her mother replied. The hospital found another donor. Silence. Wanwan's heart skipped a beat. Another donor? What donor? Then her father spoke. It doesn't matter. We already paid the cancellation fee. Her mother's voice lowered. And the donor wasn't family. Why should we owe a stranger when Wanwan was available? The room laughed. Wanwan felt something inside her crack. Not because of the surgery. Not because of the pain. Because she finally understood. There had been another option. Another person willing to donate. But they chose her. Because sacrificing Wanwan was easier. Because Wanwan never said no. Because Wanwan always gave up everything. For family. For Mei. For people who never loved her the same way. A tear rolled down her cheek. Nobody noticed. 3 months later, Wanwan returned to work. The doctors warned her to rest. She couldn't. Her family's company was drowning in debt. Her parents depended on her. Mei depended on her. Everyone depended on her. As usual. So she worked. 10 hours, 12 hours, 14 hours a day. While Mei recovered. While her parents praised Mei's strength. While nobody asked how Wanwan was feeling. One evening she came home early. The apartment was unusually quiet. The lights were off. She entered carefully, then stopped. Voices. Coming from the bedroom. A man's voice. A woman's laugh. Familiar voices. Too familiar? Wanwan's stomach tightened. Slowly, she pushed open the door. The world stopped. Her boyfriend. Her fiancé. The man she had dated for 7 years. And Mei. Together. In her bed. Nobody spoke. Nobody moved. The silence lasted only a second. But it felt like an eternity. Then Mei smiled. Not embarrassed. Not ashamed. Smiled. As if she had won. As if she expected this moment. Wanwan. Her fiancé stood up. But he wasn't rushing to explain. He wasn't panicking. He looked relieved. Like a burden had finally been lifted. How long? Wanwan asked. Her voice sounded strangely calm. Too calm. The kind of calm people find right before they break. The man looked away. Mei answered instead. 2 years. Wanwan stared. 2 years. She had donated her kidney 3 months ago. She had worked herself sick. She had paid off her family's debts. And all this time? Why? The question escaped before she could stop it. Mei tilted her head. The same way she had since childhood. The same innocent expression. The same face everyone loved. Because you're always the one who gives things away. The words hit harder than any slap. Their mother arrived 20 minutes later. Then their father. Neither looked surprised. Neither looked angry. Neither defended Wanwan. Instead, her mother sighed. Let's not make a scene. Wanwan laughed. A broken, disbelieving laugh. A scene? Her voice shook. My fiancé cheated on me with my sister. I gave her my kidney. I paid your debts. I built your company. And you're worried about a scene? Her father slammed his hand against the table. Enough! The room became silent. Then he pointed toward Mimi. Your sister has been through enough. Wanwan stared at him. Slowly. Disbelievingly. Enough. Her sister had been through enough. Not her. Not the daughter who sacrificed everything. Not the daughter who lost a kidney. Not the daughter who worked herself into exhaustion. For the first time in her life, she saw the truth. She was never a daughter. She was a resource. A backup plan. A sacrifice. That night, Wan left. Nobody stopped her. Nobody followed her. Nobody called. Rain poured across the city. The streets were empty. Cold. Dark. Exactly how she felt. Her phone vibrated. A message. From Mei. One sentence. One final knife. Thank you for everything, sister. You've always been useful. Wan stared at the screen, then laughed. And laughed. And laughed. Until tears mixed with the rain. A bright light suddenly appeared. Headlights. A truck. Too fast. Too close. Wan looked up. For a brief moment, she wasn't afraid. She was tired. So tired. The truck slammed into her. The world exploded into white. Pain. Darkness. Silence. As consciousness faded, one final thought crossed her mind. If she could live again, she would never sacrifice herself for them. Never. Then everything went black. End of chapter 1. Chapter 2. This time, I said no. Darkness. Cold. Silence. Then, pain. Not the sharp pain of being hit by a truck. Not the dull ache from surgery. Something else. Something familiar. A headache. Lin Wan opened her eyes. She stared at the ceiling. White paint. A small crack near the corner. A pink chandelier she hadn't seen in years. Her breathing stopped. No. Impossible. She sat up so fast that dizziness hit her immediately. Her heart pounded violently. She looked around the room. The old bookshelf. The desk. The faded curtains. The university brochures. Everything was exactly the same. The room she had lived in 3 years ago. Before everything happened. Before the kidney. Before the betrayal. Before losing everything. Her hands shook. No. She grabbed her phone. The screen lit up. A date appeared. April 15th. 3 years earlier. Tears instantly filled her eyes. She wasn't dead. She wasn't dreaming. She had returned. A knock sounded on the door. Before she could react, the door opened. Her mother entered. The same expression. The same tone. The same disappointment. Why are you still sleeping? Wan froze. The voice she had heard 1,000 times. The voice that always asked her to sacrifice. Never to dream. Never to choose herself. Her mother crossed her arms. Your sister is upset. Of course she was. Everything always started with Mimi. What happened? Wan asked calmly. Her mother frowned. You forgot? No. She remembered perfectly. The university scholarship? The one she had earned through years of hard work. The one that would change her future. The one she gave away in her previous life. Because Mei wanted it. Your sister cried all night, her mother said. She wants to study in Beijing too. Wan almost laughed. In her previous life, she had immediately agreed. She had handed over her scholarship, given up her future, worked part-time jobs, stayed behind, sacrificed again. And what did she receive? A missing kidney, a cheating fiancé, a family that chose her sister? Not this time. Her mother sighed dramatically. You know your sister is sensitive. Wan looked directly at her. For the first time in her life. Really looked. This woman wasn't worried about fairness. She wasn't worried about Wan. She was worried about Mei getting what she wanted. Always. Mom. Her mother looked surprised. Something in Wan's voice sounded different. I'm keeping the scholarship. Silence. What? I'm going to Beijing. The room froze. Her mother's face darkened. Don't joke around. I'm not joking. For several seconds, neither woman spoke. Then her mother exploded. How can you be so selfish? Selfish? The word almost made Wan laugh. She spent her previous life giving everything away. And the first time she chose herself, she became selfish. Her mother pointed toward the hallway. Selfish? The word almost made Wan laugh. She spent her previous life giving everything away. And the first time she chose herself, she became selfish. Her mother pointed toward the hallway. Your sister has been crying all morning. And? The answer stunned her mother. And? She repeated. Wan stood up. Slowly. Calmly. If she's crying because she didn't get my scholarship? A pause. Then she can keep crying. Her mother's eyes widened. This wasn't the obedient daughter she knew. This wasn't the girl who always gave in. What happened to you? Wan Wan smiled. A strange smile. A smile filled with memories. Pain, regret, and determination. Nothing. Everything. Everything had happened. Her mother stormed out. 5 minutes later, the entire family gathered downstairs. Her father, her mother, her sister. A familiar scene. A family meeting. A family judgment. Just like her previous life. Mei Mei sat on the sofa pretending to cry. Perfect tears. Perfect sadness. Perfect victim. The same performance. Her father looked serious. Wan Wan. She sat calmly. Your sister needs that scholarship. Needs. Not wants. Needs. The word made her sick. No. The room became silent. Her father blinked. What did you say? Wan Wan met his gaze. No. This time louder. Clearer. Stronger. I earned it. Her sister's face changed instantly. The tears stopped. For a second. Just a second. The mask slipped. Anger. Pure anger. Then the tears returned. Big sister! Wan Wan ignored her. For the first time, she ignored her. The world didn't end. The ceiling didn't collapse. Nobody died. Amazing. Years of guilt disappeared in that moment. Because she finally understood something. Mei Mei wasn't weak. Mei Mei wasn't helpless. Mei Mei simply learned that everyone would sacrifice for her. And Wan Wan was done sacrificing. The next morning, she boarded a train to Beijing. No family came to see her off. No goodbyes. No apologies. Only angry messages. But Wan Wan didn't care. As the train began moving, she stared out the window. The city slowly disappeared behind her. In her previous life, this was the moment she gave up her future. This time, she chose herself. And somewhere deep inside, for the first time in years, she felt free. End of Chapter 2. Chapter 3, The Sister's Trap. The moment Lin Wan Wan stepped off the train in Beijing, she felt something she hadn't felt in years. Freedom. No family watching her. No mother calling every hour. No father demanding sacrifices. No sister taking what belonged to her. For the first time in her life, she belonged to herself. The campus was beautiful. Tall trees lined the pathways. Students laughed and talked around her. Everyone looked excited. Everyone looked hopeful, including Wan Wan. Because unlike everyone else, she already knew the future. She knew exactly how her first life unfolded. The mistakes. The betrayals. The people she should trust. The people she shouldn't. And this time, she planned to change everything. Months passed quickly. Wan Wan focused on her studies. Her grades remained at the top of the university. She also started working on a business idea. A small software company. The same company she had built in her first life. The company that eventually became successful. The company her sister later stole. Not this time. One evening, Wan Wan sat inside the university library. A laptop glowed in front of her. Business plans. Investment proposals. Financial projections. Everything was carefully organized. Then a familiar voice interrupted her. Wan Wan? Her hands froze. No. Impossible. Slowly she looked up. Standing across the table was a man. Tall. Handsome. Wearing a dark coat. Her former fiancé. Chen Hao. The man who cheated on her with Mei Mei. The man who helped steal her company. The man who eventually married her sister. In her first life, this was the day they met. The beginning of everything. Chen Hao smiled warmly. I'm new here. I was wondering if this seat is free. Wan Wan stared at him. In her previous life, her heart raced. She thought fate had introduced her to the love of her life. Now, she wanted to throw the chair at him. Instead, she smiled politely. No. Chen Hao blinked. What? The seat isn't free. She pointed toward dozens of empty seats. Try one of those. For the first time in both lives, Chen Hao was speechless. Wan Wan returned to her work, ignoring him completely. After a few awkward seconds, he left. A small smile appeared on Wan Wan's lips. One trap avoided. Many more remained. 3 weeks later, her phone rang. The caller ID showed one name, Lin Mei Mei. Wan Wan almost declined immediately. Curiosity won, she answered. Hello? The voice on the other side sounded unusually sweet. Sister. Wan Wan nearly laughed. Whenever Mei Mei sounded sweet. Something bad was coming. Always. I miss you. There it was. The performance? The fake affection. What do you want? A brief silence. Then Mei laughed. You always know. Of course she did. Because she had lived this conversation before. Mom and Dad miss you. Lie. They want us to be a family again. Lie. They're worried about you. Big lie. Finally, the truth appeared. We need a little help. There it is. Wanwan leaned back. How much? Silence. Then Mei quietly answered, 50,000 yuan. Wanwan smiled. In her previous life, she sent the money immediately. Then another 50,000. Then another. Then another. Until she was funding the entire family. Not anymore. No. Silence. Absolute silence. Then Mei's voice changed. The sweetness disappeared. What? No. You have money. Wanwan smiled. And? Mei exploded. You owe this family? The words made Wanwan laugh. Actually laugh. For the first time in years. Owe? She repeated softly. What exactly do I owe? The call ended. But the problem wasn't over. Because Mei never gave up. Never. 3 days later, a photo appeared online. A photo of Wanwan, accompanied by a headline, Ungrateful daughter abandons her sick family. The post spread quickly. Thousands of comments appeared. People criticized her, called her selfish, heartless, cruel. Wanwan stared at the screen. The exact same trap. The exact same lie. In her first life, she panicked. She apologized publicly and spent years repairing the damage. This time, she smiled. Because she had proof. Months ago, she secretly recorded every conversation with her family. Every demand. Every insult. Every manipulation. Every time they treated her like an ATM instead of a daughter. That night, she uploaded everything. The internet exploded. Public opinion reversed instantly. People weren't attacking Wanwan anymore. They were attacking the Lin family, and especially Lin Mei, for the first time in her life. Mimi's mask cracked. And Wanwan knew something important. The future had changed. This wasn't revenge. This was survival. And she was finally learning how to protect herself. End of Chapter 3. Chapter 4. The billionaire who changed everything. The scandal should have destroyed Lin Wanwan. In her first life, it almost had. But this wasn't her first life. And she wasn't the same woman anymore. 3 days after exposing her family's lies, Wanwan sat in a lecture hall staring at her laptop. Thousands of messages filled her inbox. Some were supportive. Some were hateful. Some were from reporters. She ignored them all, because she had something more important to focus on. Her company. The software project she had started months ago was growing faster than expected. 3 universities had already expressed interest. Several investors had contacted her. Everything was moving sooner than it had in her previous life. The future was changing, and she liked it. That afternoon, her professor stopped her after class. Lin Wanwan. She looked up. Professor Zhang rarely spoke to students individually. Someone wants to meet you. Wanwan frowned. Who? The professor smiled strangely. You'll see. 30 minutes later, Wanwan entered a luxury hotel in downtown Beijing. The lobby alone looked more expensive than her entire apartment. She followed a receptionist to a private conference room. When the door opened, she froze. A man sat beside the window. Tall. Handsome. Cold. Elegant. A black suit. A silver watch. Sharp eyes. The kind of man who looked dangerous without saying a word. The receptionist lowered her head. Mr. Gu. Wanwan's heart skipped a beat. Gu Baishan. The youngest billionaire in China. The founder of Gu Technology. One of the most powerful businessmen in the country. In her previous life, she never met him. Not directly. People like Gu Baishan existed in a completely different world. So why was he here? Waiting for her? The room became silent. Gu Baishan studied her calmly. Then he spoke. Sit. Simple. Direct. Not a request. Wanwan sat. Do you know who I am? She nodded. Everyone knows who you are. A faint smile appeared on his face. Good. Then he pushed a file across the table. Wanwan opened it. Her eyes widened. It was her company. Every detail. Every investment. Every contract. Even information she hadn't shared publicly. Gu Baishan watched her reaction. You've done well. Wanwan remained silent. Most people would be flattered. She was suspicious. Very suspicious. Why are you interested in me? The question made him smile. Finally. An honest person. Most people only asked what they could gain. Wan asked why. I invest in talented people. A pause. And you're talented. For a moment, Wan didn't know what to say. Because in both lives, nobody had ever said those words to her. Not her parents. Not Chen Hao. Not her professors. Nobody. Only Gu Beichen. The room felt strangely quiet. Then he pushed another document toward her. A contract. An investment agreement. 10 million yuan. Wan almost dropped it. 10 million. Her company wasn't worth that much yet. Not even close. This is too much. Gu Beichen leaned back. No. His eyes never left hers. It's exactly enough. Something about the way he said it made her nervous. Not frightened. Just aware. Like standing near a fire. Warm. But dangerous if she got too close. Why trust me? For several seconds he said nothing. Then he answered quietly. Because everyone else underestimated you. The words hit harder than expected. Because he was right. Her family underestimated her. Chen Hao underestimated her. Mei underestimated her. Everyone did. Everyone except him. For the first time, someone saw her value before she became successful. Not after. Before. Wan signed the contract. And in that moment, everything changed. Across the city, Lin Mei stared at a news article on her phone. A photo. Wan, standing beside Gu Beichen. The article's headline read, Young entrepreneur receives major investment. Mei's face turned pale. No. She slammed her phone onto the table. This wasn't supposed to happen. Wan was supposed to fail. Supposed to come home. Supposed to beg. Instead, she was rising. Faster than ever before. And for the first time, Mei felt something she had never felt toward her sister. Fear. Meanwhile, Wan stood outside the hotel watching the city lights. In her first life, she lost everything. In this life, she had just taken the first step toward building an empire. And she had a feeling. This was only the beginning. End of Chapter 4. Chapter 5. The Sister Falls. The news spread faster than Lin Mei expected. One mistake. One desperate scheme. And everything she had built on lies began to collapse. For years, Mei had believed one thing. No matter what happened, someone would save her. Her parents. Chen Hao, Wan, someone always did. But this time was different. This time, Wan wasn't there to clean up the mess. 3 months after Gu Beichen's investment, Wan's company launched its first major software platform. The product exploded in popularity. Investors rushed in. The media couldn't stop talking about her. Every success felt like another slap to Mei's face. One evening, Mei stared at a magazine cover. Lin Wan stood beside. Gu Beichen. Confident, successful, happy, everything Mei wanted. The jealousy became unbearable. She couldn't sleep. Couldn't eat. Couldn't stop comparing herself. Finally, she made a decision. If she couldn't surpass Wan, she would destroy her. Using a fake online account, Mei spread rumors. She claimed Wan had stolen technology. She claimed Gu Beichen was secretly funding her because they were having an affair. She claimed Wan had manipulated investors. At first, the rumors spread quickly. People loved scandals, especially involving successful women. But Mei forgot one thing. Wan wasn't the same person anymore. The moment the rumors appeared, Wan's legal team launched an investigation. Within days, they traced the fake accounts. The payments. The messages, everything. Straight back to Lin Mei. The internet exploded. Again. But this time, nobody was attacking Wan. They were attacking Mei. Videos surfaced. Old messages surfaced. Even former friends came forward with stories. The image Mei had carefully built for years shattered overnight. Meanwhile, Chen Hao watched everything unfold. His business was struggling. His reputation was damaged. And now Mei was dragging him down with her. For the first time, he realized something. The problem had never been Wan. The problem was Mei, the same woman he chose over Wan. The same woman he betrayed Wan for. That realization came too late. 1 week later, the Lin family company officially declared bankruptcy. The company Wan spent years helping build was gone. Her parents sat in silence inside their empty office. The building would be sold within days. Employees were already leaving. Creditors called constantly. For the first time, they couldn't blame Wan because she wasn't responsible anymore. Her mother cried. Her father looked 20 years older. And Mei Mei sat in the corner. Alone, nobody was saving her. Across the city, Wan Wan stood in front of the floor-to-ceiling windows of her company headquarters. The skyline stretched endlessly before her, beautiful, bright, full of possibilities. A knock interrupted her thoughts. Gu Beichen entered. He placed a document on her desk. "What is this?" Wan Wan asked. "A proposal." She opened it, then froze. The document wasn't about business. It wasn't about investments. It wasn't about money. It was about her. Gu Beichen looked directly into her eyes. For once, the powerful billionaire seemed nervous. "I've waited long enough." Wan Wan's heart began beating faster. Waited for what? A faint smile appeared on his face. "For you to finally stop looking backward." The room became silent. Then he added softly, "Because I'd like to know if you'll look forward with me." For the first time in 2 lifetimes, Wan Wan felt something she thought she had lost forever. Hope. Outside, the city lights sparkled. Inside, a new chapter of her life was about to begin. And for the first time, the future looked brighter than the past. End of Chapter 5. Chapter 6. I finally chose myself. Final chapter. 1 year later, the name Lin Wan Wan was known throughout China. Her company had become one of the country's fastest-growing technology firms. Business magazines called her the young queen of innovation. Investors competed for meetings. Universities invited her to give speeches. Everything she once dreamed of had finally become reality. But success had brought something else. The people who abandoned her. One rainy afternoon, Wan Wan stood inside her office overlooking Beijing. The city lights shimmered beneath the storm clouds. A knock sounded. Her assistant entered. "Miss Lin, there are visitors." Wan Wan already knew who they were. She had been expecting this day. A few moments later, 3 familiar faces entered her office. Her mother, her father, and Lin Mei Mei. For a long moment, nobody spoke. Wan Wan studied them quietly. They looked older, tired, broken. The proud parents who once demanded her sacrifices now looked defeated. Her mother's eyes turned red. "Wan Wan!" The familiar voice no longer hurt. It simply sounded distant, like a memory from another life. Her father lowered his head. Something he had never done before. "We were wrong." The room became silent. Those words were all she had wanted in her first life. An apology. Recognition. Acknowledgement. Now they felt strangely empty, because the wound had already healed. Her mother began crying. "We thought we were helping your sister." Her father continued. "We never realized how much we were hurting you." Wan Wan remained silent. Across the room, Mei Mei finally spoke. For the first time in her life, there was no arrogance, no jealousy, no manipulation, only regret. "I hated you." Wan Wan looked at her. Mei Mei laughed bitterly. "You were smarter. You were prettier. You worked harder. Everyone praised you. So I spent my entire life trying to take things away from you." Tears rolled down her face. But even after taking everything, I was never happy. Wan Wan could hear the truth in her voice. For years, Mei Mei had chased someone else's life and lost her own. The room became silent. Finally, Wan Wan stood up. Her parents looked hopeful. Mei Mei looked terrified. Slowly, Wan Wan walked toward them. Then she smiled. A gentle smile. Not because she forgot. Not because she forgave easily. But because she no longer carried the pain. "I forgive you." Everyone froze. Her mother broke down crying. Her father closed his eyes. Mei Mei stared in disbelief. But Wan Wan continued. "I forgive you. That doesn't mean things go back to the way they were." The hope on their faces slowly faded. Because they finally understood. Forgiveness wasn't a reset button. Some things could never be repaired. And some relationships could never return to what they once were. Wan Wan wasn't angry. She simply moved on. And that hurt more than any revenge. As her family prepared to leave, Mei Mei suddenly stopped. "Sister." Wan Wan looked up. For the first time in years, Mei Mei called her sister without jealousy, without resentment, without wanting something. Just sister. "I'm sorry." Wan Wan smiled softly, then nodded. And that was enough. After they left, silence returned to the office. A few minutes later, another knock sounded. This time, Wan Wan smiled immediately, because she already knew who it was. Gu Beichen entered. Still calm, still handsome, still carrying that same quiet confidence. But tonight seemed different. He looked nervous. Very nervous. Which was strange. Billionaires weren't supposed to look nervous. Without a word, he walked toward her. Then knelt on one knee. Wanwan's eyes widened. A small velvet box appeared in his hand. Inside was a diamond ring. The room seemed to stop. Lin Wanwan. His voice was steady. In the beginning, I admired your talent. A pause. Then I admired your strength. Another pause. And somewhere along the way, a small smile appeared. I fell in love with you. Tears filled Wanwan's eyes. Not because she was sad. Because for the first time in 2 lifetimes, someone loved her without asking her to sacrifice. Without asking her to suffer. Without asking her to become less. Someone loved her exactly as she was. Will you marry me? The question echoed softly through the room. Wanwan laughed through her tears, then nodded. Yes. For the first time in both lives, she chose herself. And by choosing herself, she found everything she had been searching for. Love. Respect. Success. Freedom. Outside the window, the rain finally stopped. Sunlight broke through the clouds.